So, I wanted to have a little bit of a chat with you this afternoon about the mental health benefits of cycling. While I'm at it, I've got this specialised pitch which has been donated very kindly to the project, and I'm in the process of just sort of stripping it down, giving it a bit of a tidy up, seeing what any problems with the frame, what it needs, what it doesn't need, what the bearings are like. So I'm going to strip this down while I'm speaking to you about today's topic, which is the mental health advantages of cycling. And many of us have suffered with mental health issues. I've suffered quite dramatically in the past with mental health issues. I've come from being a full-time IT engineer to a carer for my wife, and obviously that has come with a lot of changes and a lot of from working full-time to being at home full-time. It comes with a lot of feelings of self-doubt and worthlessness, and feeling like you need to explain yourself to people all the time. And I find that the bike has been a massive help for me in clearing my head, refocusing, getting rid of anxiety, getting rid of stress, getting rid of worries. We've all got things that we're worried about at the moment. I've got some mates at the moment who are really struggling with their mental health, and they find the bike massively helpful, because when you're out on your bike, some people say it's their thinking time, but I think of it as my not thinking time. So I'm not thinking of anything other than what gear am I in, where am I going at this junction, what's at the end of this lane. I've never been down there before, I'm going to go and have a look what's down there. Where can I stop and get a drink, that kind of thing. It's not it's an in the moment thing, and it's difficult to be in the moment now because we're all permanently attached to the news and to our phones, and horrible headlines and things to worry about and stresses, and just to have that time where you're just doing what you're doing in that moment. So you're on your bike and that's all the moment is about, is pedaling your bike. I think it's massively beneficial, and it's one of the only times I can switch off, and that is why cycling is so important to me, because I've found over the years that it is the only time where I can truly sort of reset and recalibrate, and kind of give yourself a bit of a break, because things just stack up, things just mount up. You think you're coping for the longest time, and then one day it all just gets on top of you. And I know a couple of my friends who are really close to that point at the moment, through work pressures and financial pressures and housing pressures and all kinds of things just coming down on top of them at the moment, and the cost of living and everything else. And that's why this project is so needed, because the cost of living is really making people struggle. This time of year now, I get people panicking about Christmas. How are they going to cope with Christmas? They've got haven't got enough money coming in. They've got 3 kids. Nobody wants to disappoint their kids at Christmas, obviously. And it's all a huge strain, and you need something in your life. It doesn't have to be cycling, it can be any hobby, but you need something in your life that allows you to take that pressure off yourself. Otherwise you will eventually, something's got to give. And for me, at the time I was still working full time. Rachel was ill, and I was trying to be a carer and do right by her at the same time as doing my IT job, and I thought I was managing okay. I've always been a bit of a worrier, but I thought I was doing all right. And then one day I was riding to work. One day I was riding to work, and I just had the hugest panic attack. And I just legged it back as quick as I could I rode back to the house. Well, I don't remember riding back to the house, but apparently I rode back to the house, threw my bike down in the driveway, and I was banging on the front door, like somebody had been murdered. And like I said, I don't remember a lot about that day, but I do remember the build up to it, and I remember how I was feeling and how I was feeling like I had less and less space in my head for anything. And I think that day was just the bursting point for it all. I went to the doctors from there then, and the suggestion was made that I should maybe consider being a full-time carer, which obviously comes with massive financial what's the word, the financial losses compared to working full-time. My wife had a job, she was actually paid more than me, and she'd lost that job through her illness, so now the second and only job was going, and I was a mess. And without cycling and then later this project, I don't know where I would be. So the point of this is, I'm trying to say is, the mental health benefits of it are absolutely huge. You have to give yourself time. Don't feel guilty about going for a ride. You have to do it. You have to have that thing that's just for you, that's for nobody else other than yourself, that makes you feel better, that makes you feel stronger, so that you can then be that strong person for whoever you need to be it for. Yeah, it's not something to feel guilty about. It's really important that you take time for yourself. If you feel like you're coming to a point where you can't cope anymore, you got to speak to someone, speak to your mate, speak to your dad, speak to your mum, speak to a work colleague. But you have to speak to somebody. And like, I know people say, oh, men are terrible at talking, but it's not just, it's men and women. Some people are just not predisposed to saying how they feel. You know, they feel like maybe it's self-indulgent to talk about that kind of thing, but it's not. It's normal, and it's massively important. So please, if you are struggling with your mental health, talk to somebody, talk to anybody. Use the bike if you can, or whatever your thing is. If it's not a bike, you know, if it's fishing or whatever, use that to your advantage to help you reset, to help you relax. Get help, speak to somebody. It's not a weakness to speak to somebody. It's absolutely crucial. I was spiraling, and I did end up speaking to somebody, and it helped me a lot. And I think most people feel the same way. It's very few people that don't find it beneficial in some way to speak to. It doesn't have to be a professional or a doctor. It can be a friend. But yeah, all I wanted to say really to those people I know who are really struggling at the moment, who are friends of mine, and to anybody else, please speak to someone. Speak to me, speak to your mates, send me a message if you want. Speak to anybody you can, but please just share your feelings, and you'll find that people are in the same, a lot of people are in the same boat. A lot of people have got things going on in their lives too. And it's needs new pedals, and it's a normal thing. It's a normal thing, and the more you talk about it and normalize it, the better it'll be for you, and the better it'll be for your children in the future then, because there won't be this kind of stigma around talking about how you're feeling and what's going on in your mind. So yeah, if you're stressing, if you need to speak to somebody, do it. If you can get out on your bike, get out on your bike, or do your thing, whatever your thing is, and it really will help you. But please don't struggle on your own.